Vib'n with Tea. Today, we're going to do a nice little succulent 20-pound pork shoulder. It's a big boy. So now we finally got it thawed out. Took a whole day because it was like that turkey. You know how that is. So with that said, we're going to move on. Go ahead and get this. Go ahead and get it out this wrapper. So go ahead and get it out this wrapper. Get a little bit of that meat juice off. Turn this down a little bit. We don't want too much splatter. It is a big cut of meat, so just a nice moderate flush. All right. Gonna turn it down just a tad bit. Just do a nice little mediocre. All right, here we go. So the sink, it's already rinsed out really well. Got it disinfected. All right. Next thing I'm gonna do, I got about a half cup of vinegar. I'm just gonna douse that on a little bit just to make sure we get a little extra cleanliness and sanitary going on with this here. Keep this love going. And I did wash my hands before this started, so don't come for me. All right. And as you can see, we got some fat on the back. You do want to have some fat on there because that's where it's gonna do a nice little sealing that juice. And sealing that flavor and marinade. Just do a light little pat some of this excess moisture off. So we go ahead and get ready for this liquid marinade. And as you see, next to me, I've got a little bit of raspberry vinaigrette. I've got Worcestershire, or W sauce, because you know none of us can pronounce it. Then I got a little bit of tiger sauce. Now this tiger sauce, this is the sweet heat. So you got the vinaigrette in this. This actually, the W sauce also has a vinaigrette base in this. So these two alone are gonna be enough to permeate this meat and put a nice little flavor. It's gonna bring out the nice little flavor of the meat that it naturally has. Now, the actual sweetness and the heatness in here, all of them are gonna balance out the natural flavor in this meat. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead, mix this up. We're gonna put it in a bowl. Get one that's a little bit bigger here. Sorry about that. All right. So we're gonna use all of this because this is a big piece of meat. So this is not the time that you want to be shy. All right. So we got that one done. Next we got the W sauce, Worcestershire. All right, we're just gonna douse that on in there. Now it's not supposed to be a beauty contest, so don't worry about what it looks like. It's what it's gonna taste like at the end. And just a douse. All right. So we wanted to do measurements for the raspberry vinaigrette. I would say that was about 2 cups worth. The Worcestershire sauce, that's about a half cup worth. And then for the tiger sauce, maybe about a quarter of a cup worth. Maybe a little bit less than that. So we just got a little Worcestershire out here. We're gonna go ahead, a little whisk. We're gonna go ahead and work that magic together. Get that love simmering on in there. All right, and that's what it's gonna be. It's gonna be a nice little silky texture. When this is all said and done, we're gonna put all this on the meat as it is. So what I'm gonna do as well to make sure this saturates is we're gonna marinate. Now if you don't have that much time, you can go ahead and marinate it for at least about 4 hours. So what I'm gonna do is to add to the marinade to get deep down in there, because this one actually has the bone. So we're gonna make sure that we go down to the bone, in between and around. All right, that's it. So then with this, just gonna do just a light little drizzle over. And I'm gonna use my hand. The warmth from your hands, that's just gonna go ahead and get it saturated up in there and marinating that love. All right. So like I said, we're gonna use every last bit of this. This is a big piece of meat. You don't want to skimp on it. All right. Now for this would be a good cut of meat. You know, we got the Super Bowl around the corner. Fellas, ladies, you want something that can feed the masses? This will be the one. All right, so like I was saying, we're gonna go ahead and marinate this overnight. I'm gonna go ahead and put some aluminum foil, also known as aluminum foil. All right, so the next phase we'll do after we marinate this overnight, we'll come back and then hit it with that dry rub. All right, so you can see we got everything foiled up, sealed in, nice pack and tight. So for those of you that know about the Italian dressing, that's an excellent natural marinade for any type of meat. Same thing with raspberry vinaigrette. It's in the same exact family. So not only can you use it for pork, you can use it for pork, beef, and chicken. Now chicken, it takes that chicken to a whole nother world when you add that raspberry vinaigrette. Left off, you can see that nice little shiny glaze. That's what that vinaigrette does, along with that W sauce, and that contrast with that sweet heat from the tiger sauce, all of it combined together. I mean, you really don't need to add too much, but I tell you what, when we get to that dry rub and add that later on, after this marinade's overnight, man, we got a banger right here. All right. It's already marinated with the liquid marinade. So these are the dry rubs we're gonna make happen with it today. So flipping around, we got that good old Bay. Next, we got the slap your mama. I wouldn't recommend doing that if you plan on living for the rest of your life. Then we got some ground mustard. We also got some of that tropical Sazon. Next, garlic powder. We got some ground cumin. And we also have some ground mustard, dry mustard. So all of that's going to be the base that I'm going to use to formalize my dry rub today. So the measurements for that, I use about a cup and a half of Old Bay. I use about a cup of the Slap Your Mama. I also use about a quarter of the ground mustard. Excuse me, I have two. Sazon, I use about a quarter of that. Garlic powder, I pretty much use the whole thing, most of it. Then the cumin, I use about half of that as well. Now, if you're concerned with the salty flavor or taste, and you're not that comfortable when it comes to seasonings, what I recommend, take a spoon, kind of put a little bit on the spoon, kind of taste it. If it's got that salty effect, that'll let you know you don't want to use a whole lot of that. But then again, the good thing about seasoning, anything that you do, you can always undo. So when it comes to over salting, just add more sugar. That'll balance it out, make it a perfect blend every time. And that's where it kind of saturates and soaks in through the bottom. No worries, we're just going to get an injector, inject it in a few places, and we should be good to go. All right, so this looks pretty good. Well, we got it right here. Okay. Right, my hands are nice and washed. I did that beforehand. I'm going to tilt the pan just a little bit just to extract a little bit of the liquid. Right there, deep in the cavity. Just want to do a little bit, few spots. Plump it up just a little bit. One more time, just a little bit. Kind of tuck it underneath there, just to get a little bit more. I don't need that much more. Right, come on, there we go. That's the magic. All right, so on to the good part. I'm going to use one hand, keep it clean. The other hand is what I'm going to use to actually rub it in, so we don't cross-contaminate. Because what's going to happen is, after this, you can actually use this dry rub if you want to have a little bit after it's done. Some people like to add a little extra. I don't blame them. That's goodness too. And you want to be nice and healthy with this. You can be nice and generous. Rub that on in there. The heat of your hand is just going to massage it nicely on up in there. Grabbing a little bit of the liquid off the side. Go ahead and get rid of this. Okay. On to the next. I appreciate y'all for hanging in there with me. This is something I enjoy doing, cooking. This is my office. Doesn't matter what kind of day I'm having. By the time I get in the office here, which is the kitchen, none of that matters. You know, when it comes to cooking, a lot of us tend to make it feel like a job, a burden, just a big headache. Can't go into cooking like that. Just relax with it. Make cooking fun. Get your kids involved. Make it a family affair. Let's kind of what me and my family do. We all get in the kitchen, make it a family affair. When it's all said and done, the feeling that you have when you're in the kitchen preparing that meal, you know you have love for your friends, love for your family. And that's the same love that will be tasted in your food. Right, one more coating. That should be good. I'm just going to do a nice little rub in on this. Get a little bit in between there. Got a little bit of the split, not a biggie. Alright. Once we're done with this, I'm going to go ahead, cover it back up with the foil. I'm going to set it back in the fridge for just a few hours just to let this just kind of coat on there pretty good and kind of make a paste. As you can kind of see my fingers pasted up there. Right, that looks about good. What you think? Think it's good? Comment below. What type of dry rub do you use on your big cuts of meats, and what kind of liquid marinade do you like to use on yours? You know, this cooking is one of those mad scientist type feelings. Don't be scared to experiment, change something up a little bit, because sometimes you know you can get stagnant in cooking, just like we do in life sometimes. So it's okay to change up the spices every now and again. Finally there, time to go ahead and put the meat on, get it started. This is a crock pot's indoor smoker. So you've never seen one, they do exist. Instead of sitting outside and trying to man this big piece of meat, a cut this big 20 pound, actually even an 8-pounder will take about 4 hours. An 8-pounder is going to take about 8 to 9 hours. And this 20, we're going to have to adjust a little bit. This is probably going to take on low, which is what we're going to cook this on. It's going to be 12 to 14 hours. So with this, I've already added the wood chips. So I like to mix chips and be exciting from time to time. So I added apple and hickory wood chips. I'm going to go ahead and add the 1 cup of water. This is just enough to go ahead and get the chips smoking internally. And I've already cut the meat in half just to make sure it fits in there. So we'll start with the biggest piece. Alright, doesn't that look good? Looks like it's already cooked. We're just going to squeeze that in there. The main thing is as long as it fits, we're good to go. Alright, that's half number 1. Half number 2. It's going to be tight. Nothing that's new to the game here. Alright. Now we got that in there. Now we got this big boy in here. We're going to go ahead and set it to low. This automatically has 2 settings. So it has a low setting, which ranges between 250 275. High, it's going to be anywhere between about 300 to 375. Alright, looks like we got a finished product. I cooked this on low for 9 hours. Looks like I didn't have to cook this one for the expected 12 hours that I thought originally. But it's looking good, looking real good. So now we can get it ready. Go ahead and pull it out. Do the little pulled pork effect and go ahead and work the rest of this magic. What's going on, everybody? Pork shoulder is finally ready and done. But this what happens when you do a store run and forget that you forgot mayonnaise. So what I got right here is I got 3 eggs, 3 medium eggs. Got a little bit of Old Bay. And then I dropped a little bit of white pepper and a little bit of fresh salt. I'm sorry, not salt, but pepper. So we're gonna actually make some homemade mayonnaise. And we're going to do it in about, we'll say, 40 seconds or less. All right. I'm going to add a little bit of Old Bay. Put that there. Then we forgot the most important ingredient. We need an oil. So I use extra olive oil in a lot of stuff that I use. So here we go. I would have to say it's probably going to be about a cup, maybe about that much that's in there. We'll adjust if need be. It looks like a lot, but when you buy it in the store, trust me, you're getting a lot more than this and a lot of extras that you're not counting on. All right. It's one of my little boy toys, a Sunbeam. I've had this for years. If you've ever seen these, nice. You can actually get this at Amazon. I'll go ahead and put a link below for you. So we're gonna start out with low. You wanna put it on the very bottom. We're gonna push a little air in there first. Put a little bit of air just to get it going. All right, you'll start to see it form right in front of you. So now I'm going to high. And you want to go up and down. Your mayonnaise is now forming. Ladies and gentlemen, mayonnaise. And you can put it in the refrigerator, let it get a little bit cool, but it doesn't have to be. You can actually use it right now, and you'll be good to go either way. Just gonna be a little bit soupy, but that's all they do. That's why they add all those additives in the store to make it thick. So now we're gonna transition real quick into a real quick coleslaw. That mayonnaise that we just made fresh, we can now start using it. So it's gonna be liquidy, like we said, but that's fine. This is what it's supposed to look like in real life without all that processing that they do in the stores and manufacturers. So I'm gonna probably add about, we'll start with about a little bit less than half a cup. Start with that. I don't want it to be too extreme. All right, and next to me you see we have the Grill Mates Sweet Smoky Rub. This actually adds a nice little sweetness and a nice little, almost like that smoke effect, since that's the theme. So the vibe we rolling with is smokiness, smoky meat, smoky slaw. Everything's gonna blend together. Let's go ahead and get this mixed up real quick. Just gonna do a couple of toss-overs. Might have to add a little bit more. And that's a good thing I like about this. You can always pour what you need. See, still has that consistency of mayonnaise. If you were to dilute it down a little bit, this is exactly what it looks like. Alright, a tad bit more. That should be on the money. I'll get this mixed up just a little bit more. Perfect. Now, add that in there. See how that's coming along? Woo! We ready. I was having daydreams and movies about today's meal. Alright, before some of you make that little comment, I already know. I'm going to put a cap full of apple cider vinegar. And that'll go ahead and tie the rest of this in together. It should be a magical event. We good to go. Yes, sir. All right. As promised. Doesn't have to be any particular brand. This is our local grocery store. So whatever your local grocery store is, you don't even need the name brand. So just a cap full. Douse. We ready to roll. Gonna wrap this up, put it in the fridge. We are rolling now. Right. Keep that magic going. That is what that is. All right. Slice number 2. Then we'll go ahead and get one more slice. Now typically, if I was to just cut this and use this, as sandwich bread, I've kind of mastered cutting thinner, so I can actually probably get about 12 slices out of this, believe it or not. Alright, so we're at the next phase. We're almost there. We've got the bread cut. I've just got it buttered. I melted some butter. You can take a quick shortcut, do it in the microwave about a minute. Half a stick of butter, good to go. Pan is already warmed up. We're just gonna toast one side of the bread, face down. Add a little bit of weight to it, light push. You don't have to let it go for too long. We just want to get a nice little toast and a sear on it. I'm gonna turn the heat up just a little bit hotter. That'll make it go a little bit faster as far as the process. Now this is a Rachael Ray non-stick pan, so there's no need for me to add oil. No need to add unnecessary calories, right? Alright, so let's check that. Uh-oh. Light. Turn up a little bit higher. Keep working this magic. So what I've done is I've cut 4 slices of bread. We're just going to toast them one at a time. All right, we got, oh yeah. Yeah. Gucci. Now, we're going to tuck this on over here in the nook. I'm going to check the other bones. Remember those bones? 1. 2 bones. I'm double checking to make sure. Sometimes they might have another one tucked away in there. Since our space is too tight, it's a big cut of meat, so I don't want to overcrowd the board. That's why we got this overflow pan. Right. It is. Man, this looks good, smells good. Can't tell nobody nothing right now. In the words of boys and men, we at the end of that road. We at the end of the road. I got the slaw that we made in the background. So now, we can go ahead and start forming the sandwich. We're just going to go ahead and take a nice little helpful helping of the meat there. Put it on the sandwich. Get it there. Right. We'll break it up a little bit more. Sorry for my hand being in the money shot right now. Give me one moment, we'll make that adjustment. So you can see and feel the love. Remember, like I said earlier in this video, cooking is all about that love. See that love I just put up in here? You think my family feel anything other than love in there? Take it to the knob. About to wear this thing out. Alright, hands are clean. Make sure to wash beforehand. Alright, so that's good to go right there. You see right here we got that Texas, that Heinz barbecue Texas, bold and spicy. Ain't nothing against the other barbecue sauce. I'm just going with my little theme. I like a little spicy, a little spice and kick and everything. You notice the coleslaw has his little sweet, his little sweet flavor up in there. The meat's got this little tanginess from that tiger sauce. And now we add this with all the other flavors. Baby, we in there. So this sauce, I've already transferred it over to this bowl. So we can just squeeze it on out. Look at that. What you know about that? You gotta be cute about it. Let that thing loose. Bam. Shit, like you sitting on a jury. Counts to the merch. Sustain. Alright, boy. Making my little family members proud. The ladies of my family proud. They taught me how to cook. Remember that slaw? Check this out. It's already got that little chill on it. So boy, you Gucci. Good with this meal. Guess what? We're gonna top it, push it on down. Salt, pepper, baby. Push them real good. There it is. Alright, we got the sandwiches cut. There's the finish line, baby. There's the finish line. Y'all want me to hit it? Hit it? Hit it? Here we go. Here we go. Woo! My whole family tree like that brother over there trying to do some things. Just a little bit, just a little bit. You know the holidays around the corner, so we all got to get ready. It's all practice. Hey.